I've seen many videos of people reviewing one-star restaurants and one-star hotels. However, I've never seen anyone review one-star Formula One races. So I thought it'd be a good idea for me to review some of the worst Formula One races of the past. The only catch is I've got to give them positive reviews. The 2021 Belgian Grand Prix was the 12th Formula One race of the 2021 season. It was held at Spa, and when you hear that it was a wet race, it ended with a maiden podium for George Russell, and that it was laden with drama throughout. It sounds like you'd be in for a good watch, but you'd be very, very wrong. In fact, Max Verstappen took pole position in a wet qualifying as Lando Norris crashed heavily at the Eau Rouge corner. Before the start of the race, Sergio Perez crashed, hence unable to initially start the race. The start was delayed for nearly half an hour before the formation lap even began. However, the weather conditions were too dangerous to continue, and the start procedure was suspended again. Finally, the race got underway with a 1 hour time limit after there was a 2.5 hour delay, which allowed Perez's car to be fully repaired. But it was red flagged again after only 2 laps were completed. The conditions were continuing to deteriorate. It was ultimately decided that the race would not be restarted. Hence, Verstappen was declared the winner, and with half points awarded, George Russell, who qualified a surprise second, took his maiden podium, with Lewis Hamilton rounding out the podium. And that was it. 3 laps behind a safety car after fans waited hours for the race to start. I can see why Tactical Disorder called it the second most embarrassing moment of Formula One history, after Indy 2005. Now, onto my review. Congratulations to George Russell for securing his first podium in what might be the fastest completion of a Formula One race I've ever witnessed. At least something happened this weekend. And on that note, let's jump into what Tactical Disorder claimed was more embarrassing than this fiasco, the 2005 United States Grand Prix. The 2005 United States Grand Prix was the 9th race of the season. In 2005, Formula One introduced a game-changing rule. Drivers were restricted to a single set of tyres for both qualifying and the race. This proved to be a challenge for Bridgestone and its main teams, Ferrari, leaving Michelin-backed teams like McLaren, Williams, and Renault all leading the pack. Then came Indianapolis, where the script was flipped in the most unexpected of ways. The drama unfolded on Friday, when Toyota's third driver, Ricardo Zonta, spun after his left rear Michelin tyre failed. Initially, this didn't cause much of a stir, but Ralf Schumacher's heavy crash in FP2 at turn 13, the banked right-hander onto the pit straight, set off alarm bells. Jarno Trulli's inspection revealed similar tyre issues, signalling there was a problem. The extent of this problem was unknown. By race morning, Michelin's teams proposed several solutions, like adding a chicane before turn 13, allowing tyre changes without scoring points, or even running a non-championship race with a different track layout. However, none of these proposals reached the consensus with the FIA or Ferrari. Despite all 14 Michelin runners lining up on the grid, there was a unanimous decision by the 7 team principals that led to a dramatic withdrawal. The drivers peeled off into the pit lane after the formation lap, leaving just 6 cars to start the race. The sight of only 2 Ferraris, 2 Jordan Toyotas, and 2 Minardi Cosworths on the grid amid a sea of boos and disappointment was surreal. The race was devoid of any real competition. It saw Schumacher and Barrichello effortlessly dominate, with the sparse grid resulting in minimal on-track action. The crowd of 100,000 didn't even stay to watch the full race. Overall though, I'm definitely rating it 5 stars. The race was easy to follow, and as a Ferrari fan, at least we ended up winning. That's not very common today, with Leclerc getting pole and then finishing on the podium or in the wall. Coming back to more modern times, we've got the 2020 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. In the shadow of the notorious 2021 Abu Dhabi scandal, the safety car decision that crowned Max Verstappen the world champion, lies the 2020 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Unlike its successor, the drama here didn't revolve around a safety car, but something unexpectedly mundane, seeking a comfortable sleeping position. As the world grappled with the spooky cough, the F1 calendar faced unprecedented disruptions, yet the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix persisted, albeit behind closed doors. In a season overshadowed by the pandemic, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix could have been a significant highlight, considering that it actually went ahead. Max Verstappen seized pole for the first time since the 2019 Brazilian Grand Prix, and he broke the monotony of the Mercedes dominance that wasn't all that long ago. It was a race less about breathtaking drama and on-track action, and more about seeing Max dominate and cars just go round in circles. Verstappen not only claimed pole, but he led every single lap before winning the race. Trailing him were the Mercedes duo. We had Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton, meaning the podium was the same order as the starting grid. The real surprise came as Albon overtook Lando Norris for 4th place, and Lando finished 4th ahead of teammate Sainz in 5th, which ended up securing McLaren 3rd in the Constructors' Championship, a feat that hadn't been seen outside of the main trio of Red Bull, Ferrari, or Mercedes since 2015. To add the cherry on top, Daniel Ricciardo did end up getting the fastest lap, but it was an otherwise very, very boring race. Post-race, Verstappen was happy with the victory, but he mentioned that he didn't think the team would be title challengers for 2021. Luckily, he was very, very wrong. Overall, 5 stars. As boring as the race was, I was very well rested afterwards. It did set the tone for a Red Bull resurgence in 2021, and the McLaren duo performing well is something I miss from F1 today. Carlos and Lando were a great driver pairing to see on race day. The 2021 European Grand Prix would be held on the sun-baked streets of Valencia, Spain, and it wouldn't be known for a dramatic showdown, but instead for some mediocre records. The first being the most race finishes of all time, as all 24 starters ended up crossing the finish line. Yet, this feat did very little to elevate its status beyond a one-star Formula One race. The year 2011 saw Sebastian Vettel, fresh from his maiden championship win, dominate the circuits with Red Bull, and Valencia was no exception. The combination of a lackluster track, the RB7's supremacy, and a race devoid of any incidents crafted a very predictable and boring race. Vettel in his Red Bull Renault would not only win the race, but also secure pole position and clock the fastest lap, achieving a rare hat-trick. Fernando Alonso trailed behind in second, with Mark Webber clinching third, which he regarded as his best performance of the year. Yet, amidst these feats, the race lacked the usual F1 spark and spectacle. It was just simply boring. But it does hold another record, as Narain Karthikeyan became the equal lowest classified driver in history by coming 24th and last. But that was it, a very uneventful race. One thing that did stand out to me today was the Valencia street circuit. It's a maze of tight corners and narrow straights, making it a very hard challenge for overtaking, which definitely didn't help this Grand Prix. The urban layout with the limited opportunities for overtakes and on-track battles contributed greatly to the circuit's unpopularity overall, which is likely the reason we don't see it around today. Post 2012, the circuit was left abandoned, a ghostly reminder of what it once was, a very mediocre Formula One track, and it's had no major racing events since. You can actually go visit the circuit today and see what a deteriorated mess it's become. In our journey through some of Formula One's worst weekends, there's something that we didn't touch on that's more important than spectacle. When we tag races as one star due to limited on-track action or limited racing, it's important to remember that sometimes driver safety is more important. Sure, the thrill of watching cars tear through the rain at the 2021 Belgian Grand Prix or a full fight at the 2005 United States Grand Prix would have been exciting and amazing, but I'm ultimately happy neither of these events ended in a horrible motorsports accident. If you are interested in more on the dangers of F1 and how safety is improved, subscribe or watch my video on how 50s Formula One drivers danced with death.